Welcome to Truths, Proofs, and Firewater Reviews. I'm your host, Lindsay, and this is John, risking his liver to discover new whiskeys. We base our reviews on a 25-point scale, 5 for the smell, 10 for the taste, 5 for the finish, and a combined 5 for the bottle and look of the juice. Got quite the setup going on here.
Yeah.
Lots of bottles and cups.
Got a little experiment today.
I'm excited. I'm very excited for this.
But first, let's do the question of the day. What is your favorite port finished bourbon whiskey? Or maybe your favorite matured scotch or rum? They do both of those in port also. More of a maturing and not finishing. But what is your all-time favorite with port?
I know what yours is.
Yeah, mine is Woodinville, without a doubt. This is probably my favorite whiskey right now in general.
Okay.
Big front runner for whiskey of the year for me. I really want to find one that beats that, but
I'm going to say, honest to gosh, I really do like Angel's Envy. It's one of my favorites, but I would have to honestly say Thomas S. More.
Yeah, that one was strong.
It was good.
Aged.
Yeah. Just a good balance.
I think that'd be my second favorite, but this one is just brighter and I don't know, there's something about it.
You picked up that old Scout Rye.
Yeah.
And I know
that's right here.
You weren't super impressed with it yet, and maybe it'll get better, but I didn't really mind that. I thought it was pretty good.
This one is an Mgp Rye, so I'm not a huge fan of those. So I'm not sure about that one yet. I want to see me blinded with that before I make a decision. But
I know there's a lot of stuff out there, so let us know what you guys think.
Yeah.
But we're going to kind of break stuff down and analyze, and
we're going to try some wine.
Pick it apart.
Some port wine for the first time. We're going to see what the wine tastes like, maybe what it does to the whiskey. We got Woodinville, just the normal 90 proof offering over here, which is like a 4 to 5 year whiskey. And we got the port finished over here, which I bought last week and I've been drinking nightly. Yeah. It's the only thing I've been craving lately.
It's been really, really good. So we have a fine ruby port, and then we have a tawny port. Pour a little bit here.
So some of them pick ruby port to mature and finish in. Ruby is a younger port. It's usually like 3 years. Tawny is like 10, 20, 30, 40 year aged. They do them in oak. I think it's French oak that they do them mainly in. And they do all different size casks. I saw some that are like 60 gallons and then some that were like 12,000 gallons. They do some big vats, big wooden vats.
Yeah, that is
a dark wine. Wow.
Yeah, this is the ruby and this is the fine tawny.
So the tawny is gonna, wow, that's not as dark as I thought that would be.
So, all right, well, there's
keep the bottles up there.
Clearly a difference here.
So this is tawny.
That's tawny and this is so tawny, and they smell really great.
Yeah, you want to pour some Woodinville too?
Oh, yep. Fresh crack here.
So it isn't going to be a universal, this is the difference between every whiskey. It's not going to be universal, this is the flavor profile of every port, of every tawny or ruby. It's just going to give you a rough idea of what it does to the whiskey. We'll give you a little information on the whiskeys. We'll give you a little information on the wines. We've learned a lot today. I think it's pretty interesting.
I'm kind of intrigued by wines, but there's a lot, and I don't know, even begin to know.
Yeah.
So we're going to start out, and I'm going to give you a little information about port. It's a Portuguese fortified wine, and fortified meaning that it is blended, usually with cognac or brandy. In this case, ports are blended with brandy, and the brandy that they're blended with is 77% ABV, and it is unaged. So it gives it a little different.
It's really
It's kind of
just,
like adding
yeah.
alcohol to it to make it last longer and make it a little higher proof, which gives people the warm and fuzzy feelings inside. And it was one of those things where when it first originated, port was dedicated as a port wine in 1678. They actually started calling it port, and it was fortified for the reason that it's made, I'm going to, Douro Valley, and is where it's produced, and it's along a river, and it's in a little valley, and it's very hilly, and they couldn't move it through the land, so they had to take it down the river and out, and then ship it into England, I think it said. So it was one of those things where they were afraid that it would spoil because it took so long to get it down the river, so they started fortifying it. And they started mixing it with their brandy, and then found out that it kept a lot better, so they started fortifying it, and here we are.
So that brings up the ABV. These ones are 19.5% alcohol by volume. What is it average? It's around 20, right?
Yes.
And what doesn't it have a minimum of like 17?
It has to be 17.5.
Okay.
So they do have a pretty strict standard. There's a lot of different things that go into ports and a lot of different ports. There's 4 main categories being red, white, rosé, and tawny. And tawny is just the aged one. Tawny, I believe, has to be aged at least 8 years.
I saw something about it went in vintages like 10, 20, 30, 40.
And then so it has to be at least 8, but they said they usually release them in the different vintages of 10, 20, 30, and even 40 years old.
So it looks like most of them are ruby port finished.
Yes.
I do see a few tawny every now and then. I think Angel's Envy does it, and Thomas S. Moore were tawny.
I think so.
Could be wrong.
I'm not sure. It was kind of gray area there.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it makes sense. Ruby is more available to get the casks because they age them less.
Yep. And it's sealed, which was another thing that John and I found. This white seal that you see running across the whole thing. Oh, I just flipped off. I broke it. If it's not labeled, it's not authentic. So it's called the Vinho do Porto seal.
What'd you call me?
I don't know. It's Portuguese.
So if it doesn't have the seal, then it's not real.
It's not a real authentic.
So it's kind of like bourbon, where it has to be made in the USA. It has all the strict standards and.
Yep, and they are regulated. Are you gonna make me say this?
Sure.
Oh, okay. So the ports are all regulated by the Instituto dos Vinhos do Douro e do Porto.
I'm gonna rate your Portuguese on a scale of 1 to 10, probably a 3.
Thank you.
Someone else rate it. I want to know.
It's terrible.
It'd be a 1 if I said it.
Yes. So, and then I thought it was kind of funny because I was reading through a lot of this and I kept seeing that there's legalities, and I was like, what does that mean? And it is illegal for them to sell more than 30% of their vintage stock. So vintage is, from what I read, was what they're aging. So if they have 100 barrels, they can't sell more than 30 of them. And if they do, they can have a lot of issues, and they get fines, and there's even jail time. And it's kind of crazy because that way they kind of force the vineyards and the wineries' hands to age them longer. So that's where you get into the tawnies and stuff like that too. Or I guess you just have to have a really big vineyard. I don't know. But like you were saying with the cask, there is tonneau casks that are 2,640 gallons too. But they typically use the Pippa and the Belisario. And those are 145, and then the Belisario is 13,210 gallons. I don't know what the heck you're doing with all that, but you're going to get a lot of wine, let me tell you. And I thought it was kind of cool because ports are actually one of the authentic wines, and they are crushed by foot traditionally. Most of them do not do that anymore. They have automated feet presses.
They took a shower.
But it was cool because there are a lot of different vineyard experiences that you can go there and crush grapes yourself, and you get in a huge barrel.
I don't want purple feet forever.
It looked like fun. There was like 8 of them in there all linked together stomping around, which I thought was kind of cool.
How much more information you got? I want to get to drinking.
Not a whole lot. I think we've pretty much covered it. It's considered a dessert wine. It's usually a 3-ounce pour rather than a 5-ounce pour. So, and it's served around 60 degrees is the best, but depending on what you're serving, it varies.
We have it a little lower than room temperature, so not sure if I'm a light wine, but got whiskey to go with it.
Okay, and then the only other things are bottle aged and barrel aged. There's 2 different variations. Bottle aged is that it was pressed and put right into a bottle and ages in the bottle. Mm-hmm. And barrel aged is what you typically would think that it's put into a barrel and aged
these are going
longer.
to be the finished is always going to be barrel aged, right? You're getting barrels, so.
Well, I'm talking about wine.
Yeah, are these both finished, or I mean both barreled?
I'm not sure. I don't know.
I would think so.
Well, obviously the tawny will be because that's going to be older, but this one I don't know. Well, with how dark it is, it might not be. But I don't know enough about wine to tell you. I'm not sure. And then the only other thing was that the biggest thing that I saw was that it's all about the grapes, as if you didn't know that. But there are 52 different varieties of grapes that they use to create port wines, and the winery create the different blends with the different grapes. So there's different grapes that create a different flavor profile. And there's a couple of them like have a blueberry and vanilla flavor added in, or a raspberry cinnamon flavor. So they have to pick. And I was like, I never would have thought. Flavors? No, like the grapes create those when the acidity in the grapes. I mean, it reacts and creates different flavors. And I just thought that was really cool. I never thought that much about grapes, I guess, other than the fact that I like them.
I don't eat grapes. They make my mouth feel funny. They make dry and odd. I don't know. I like raisins. You're such an old man. Shut up.
All right, so now this is the fun part. I'm kind of excited to try this.
I don't know about this one.
This one smells really good. That one I'm a little skeptical about. All right, well, I'm going to try the ruby and we'll see.
Pinky out.
I'm going to become a wine drinker.
Let's go into the ruby port real quick. What did that taste like to you?
A spicy grape juice.
I was thinking it just tastes like grape juice. I don't taste any alcohol.
It has the exact same consistency as Welch's grape juice. It is very sweet and has a little bit of a dryness to it at the end of it. But it's very velvety and very rich. I can see why they call them a dessert wine. Mm-hmm. How about you?
I agree with that 100%. It tastes like grape juice with a little bit of tiny, like, perfumey spice in there.
Yeah.
That's actually pretty good. I'm kind of surprised.
I would drink that.
Now, what do you feel about the tawny?
The tawny was a lot sweeter, like, right out the gate. It was very sweet. The tawny reminded me
of vinegar and raisins.
I don't know about vinegar. I would definitely
smell it, and you can smell the vinegar.
I would say like more balsamic to me.
That's vinegar.
Oh, well.
Balsamic vinegar. Sorry. Yeah, I didn't say what kind of vinegar, but yeah, that's kind of where I was going. Not like white vinegar. But vinegar is also made out of grapes, so pretty sure.
That one doesn't have as much of a dryness to it.
I don't get much wood on there, though. I don't really taste the wood. Maybe because I'm a bourbon drinker.
I don't know. I might be a wine drinker now.
I don't know if I could drink those. Those are very rich.
I could definitely see this being a very nice. I would probably not drink much more than what's in this glass, but I could definitely see this being a nice after dinner, sitting out on the patio by the fire or something, sipping on a little bit of wine and chit-chatting. Like, I can see definitely
how whiskeys, bourbons pick up some of the notes from both of these. I think this one would give you a little bit less, but then on the other hand, it's in the wood longer, so it's soaking in and making that wood sweeter.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's as strong. I think
But sweet oak for us usually is pretty mellow. So
Yeah. I see, like, the ruby, I think, is going to give it a lot brighter, like,
crisper, cleaner
fresher
flavors.
berry
Yeah.
grape notes. I think this one's going to give it darker, deeper raisins and plums and stuff like that.
That's going to give it more
Which does kind of reminds me of Angel's Envy and Thomas S. More for sure, I think, is tawny. All right, let's go into the whiskey. So Woodinville, let's try the normal one first.
I'm sorry,
just normal Woodinville. It's got like a distinct dry wood character. It's a little more aged than just a normal straight. They're a really good brand for a really good price.
They're so palatable. And they're very well priced.
So that tastes way woodier than the age it has.
But in the best way. It's not like
and they're copper pot stilled. Pot distilled, so it's going to have a thicker mouthfeel, more flavorful. It's 90 proof, both of them, and they both are super flavorful. But I can taste that port influence. Yeah. It's got bright, like, raspberries on it.
I was going to say, it tastes like raspberry dark chocolate to me.
I don't really get the chocolate. I get, like, ruby red squirt. You know that pop?
I don't get... Yes, that's a pop.
Yeah. Soda, wherever you're from. That's what it reminds me of on the nose. I don't know...
On the nose?
I don't know if it's the ruby. I don't get it on the taste. I get the ruby red grapefruit soda on the nose. More raspberries on the taste.
I definitely get raspberry on the taste, but I'm not going to agree with that.
Yeah, that's it.
I don't know.
It's your thoughts. I mean, it clearly adds way more fruit than the normal Woodinville.
Woodinville is the standard for me is it's very clean. It's very woody, and it has that great balance between the wood and the flavor profiles that you want. The vanilla and a little bit of caramel and a teeny bit of toast. And I mean, it's got everything going for it.
Even though Woodinville is really good, the finishing just adds like
it
10 different layers.
Depth.
It's depth. The depth of it's so crazy. I mean, the mouthfeel it's thicker and silkier. The fruity adds to the woodiness that they have that's unique to them, in my opinion. It's dry.
I don't think anybody does anything like Woodinville does.
So, do you know anything about Woodinville's port finished?
No.
So, after the whiskey is fully matured, which would be that one.
It's this one that goes into cask.
They transfer it into freshly emptied port barrels where subtle notes of berry and chocolate, you got the chocolate, I got the berry, emerge, complementing the traditional bourbon flavor. So they do use a ruby. I feel it. So I've heard that if you let the barrels sit and they're not freshly dumped, that the little bit of juice in there turns to like vinegar and it will make the bourbon horrible. So they have to use fresh dumped barrels. Now some of them, like Basil Hayden with their dark rye, they're actually blending some into it.
I read that one of their previous releases was 1% a sherry, and then it had an Alberta rye or Alberta Canadian whiskey and then a rye. So going off of that basis, I'm gonna say it's probably somewhere around there with their dark rye.
I don't know if they're actually dumping port into there or if they're just leaving like.
But what if they did?
A good percentage in the barrels.
Yeah, maybe they leave a little bit in there so that it doesn't turn to vinegar. But either way, I mean, they're doing something different.
I don't know. Port or finished whiskeys in general are super fun. It makes normal bourbon not boring. I mean, if you're just drinking bourbon over and over, it gets a little boring. That's why I went to rum, and then finished whiskeys are really my thing.
Bored anytime soon.
I was getting a little bored with bourbon for a while. When rum entered, it started changing it up, and I didn't really want to drink bourbon every day. I think finished whiskeys just added to that. There's
Something
so
different.
many more different things. I would like to go into sherry finish. Sherry's interesting. It's going to be like a nuttier flavor. There's cognac. I want to try some cognac and see what that does to the whiskey. We have a brandy finished whiskey back here too. See what that does to it.
He just fell right down the wormhole. Here we go.
I don't know if I drink these. What are you going to drink these?
I'll drink them.
Yeah?
Hell yeah.
That's sweet.
That's what I'm saying. It might take me a little while. It said that if you keep them in the fridge, you got a month, and it might take me a month to drink them. But after dinner, just sitting there watching TV with you in bed or something, yeah, I could sip on this. Hell yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, it's not my Moscato, but I'm not mad about it. And red wine's good for your heart. Just add that in there.
This one looks like blood.
This one looks like Welch's grape juice.
So which wine did you like better?
I don't know.
I'm sure there's better brands. These were like $15, $17 a bottle. That's not cheap, but it's not expensive either.
I'm gonna go with the Ruby.
Ruby.
This
you
one
like the
has
grape juice.
I do. I like the feel of that one a little bit better.
I can definitely tell this got some air
And I'm
in
getting
the barrel.
vinegary on that now. And I think that's kind of what
Look
throws
at the
me with that.
viscosity
I
difference.
know.
This one's thin and this one's thick.
It's interesting.
That's thicker than a DQ Blizzard.
Don't turn it upside down. I can't get wine out of the carpet. Don't you dare.
I already tried to get coffee out of the carpet earlier.
Yeah. Happy Monday.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guys, I hope that you learned something today and you enjoyed, because I know John and I did. This was something a little different, out of our realm.
Let us
But we
know if
wanted
you
to
like
shake
this
it up a little bit.
topic of trying wines and seeing what it does to whiskey. Maybe you didn't learn anything. Maybe we just blabbered for hopefully less than 20 minutes.
Hopefully. But, who knows? Either way, we had a good time and we enjoyed some wine and some bourbon, and can't be mad about that. So let us know what your guys' favorite is. Comments below.
I'm not drinking this at a restaurant anytime soon.
I might. So that wraps up this review. Leave a comment if you have tried this whiskey and let us know what you thought. Please like and share to social media, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to leave a suggestion for our next review. Thanks for watching.